Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today is January 2nd, so Happy New Year. I wanted to sit down really quick while Brooke is napping. I wanted to sit down and talk about my goals for 2020. So every year I go ahead and write a couple of goals down. Actually, last year my husband and I wrote our goals together on a journal, and it was just nice to write it down and then have it there so you could see throughout the year, or keep in the back of your mind kind of thing. So this year I wanted to go ahead and do the same thing, but actually make a video of it, because I feel like this year my goals have changed a lot. Usually it's trying to achieve something, whether it's like an actual object or whatever it may be, or I don't know, it's just, I feel like this year is different, and I think you'll get it more when I explain it. So for example, last year our main goal and focus was towards buying our first home, and thankfully by the grace of God we were able to do that, and we signed on our house in October. So that was crossed off our list, and now we are living in our home. Usually it's stuff like that where I'm like, I want this, or I want, this year's goal is to get a new car, or this year's goal is to whatever, or make X amount of money, or get a job, whatever it may be. I feel like this year, and I told my husband, this year's a little bit different. So this year my number one top goal is to say no. And when I told him that, he was a little confused, and I was like, let me explain why. I have always been a yes person, and then I end up biting off more than I can chew, and then I end up stressing myself out or getting involved in something that maybe I should have said no to. So this year, after especially now being a mommy of a toddler, I don't have the, I can say capacity, that could be negative, but I don't, at the moment, I don't have, whether it be the time or capacity, to take on as much as I used to. But now I feel like in this phase of life, I kind of have to realize that I can't take on as much as I used to. And not that it's bad, because I feel like before deciding that was going to be my biggest goal, I was a little, I felt a little guilty. I was like, well, what happens if somebody needs help and I have to say no? But then I had to take a step back and look at the bigger picture and decide, the reason I'm saying no is not just because I don't feel like it. It's because I need to say no, whether it be for prioritizing my daughter or my own schedule, or just because I mentally cannot handle it. And once I looked at it from that perspective, I was much more okay with it. So I was like, you know what, that's gonna be my number one goal for 2020, and that is to learn to say no. Figured I would share that with you guys, make that maybe like a topic of discussion throughout the year, and just check in here and there on how I'm learning to do that and how it's going for me. Okay, so somebody woke up from her nap, so I'm just gonna have to finish this video with her in it. I just gave her my makeup bag so she can play with it. Basile, hi. 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 Okay, so moving on to point two. So moving on to goal number 2. That is time management. So I think that kind of goes in hand with learning to say no, because I feel like when I say yes, now I guess I say that in the past, when I used to say yes to everything, I feel I know. Gracias. In the past, when I used to say yes to everything, I would take on more to-dos. So whether it's, can you log in and pay this for me? Or can you pick this up for me? Or whatever it may be, I would add that to my to-do list. So I would have more things to do that, and this sounds so selfish, which is why I hate the fact of saying no, but then that would clutter my space, and that's my time. And I understand that, I have to understand that that is just, it's gonna be good for me, because I'm gonna have a little bit more free time, or whatever it may be, or not more free time, because it's not like I would take on a million things, but that just, I won't have things to do that aren't priorities for me. And that sounds selfish, but I think that with learning to say no, I am gonna have to be a little bit more selfish with my time, and I just have to learn that it is okay to be selfish with your time. So that is number 2. I'm really excited about number 2. I also downloaded some books on Audible for learning how to avoid procrastinating, learning how to get a hold of like your time and doing more in less time and still being successful in whatever it is you're doing. So I will share those once I finish reading them. Like I said, I downloaded them on Audible, so I don't even have to sit down and read it. I can just pop in some headphones and listen to it during her nap time or whatever it may be. So that is number 2. Now moving on to number 3. That is something that I'm going to share what it is, but I'm going to share what the goal is, but I'm not going to share I'm not going to share exactly specific details. So number 3 is something that I have had on my goals list in the past, and I feel like it has never, and I have tried in different ventures before, or you know, just like small businesses or whatever it may be. So this year I really want to focus my number 3 slot on opening my own business. And I'm starting, I feel like in the past, you know how they say, if you've tried, how does the saying go? It's something about like, if you've tried it a certain way before and it's not working, it's time to try a different way. So this time I'm looking at it in a small picture, because in the past I've looked at things like, I want to do this because it's gonna, in theory, it's gonna bring me this amount of money, or it can make this amount of money if I go into this industry. Look how much money this industry is bringing in. And this time I don't want to focus it on money, and I don't want to focus it on a set number or a capacity, like I want this to be a factory nationwide, or I want this to be this huge company. No, I just want it to be my own business that is mine, that is something I love, and that I feel like I can give it my 100%. And whatever happens to it in the future, in the next 5-10 years, great. And if it doesn't boom, great. I still have my own business. So I already have something in mind. Like I said, this is different than anything I've done before. In the past, just so I can, you know, give you an example, I learned how to do lash extensions. I tried that. And like I said, I looked into that because I saw how lash techs were promoting it. They were like, you can make this amount of money a week and this amount of money a month. I was like, I could definitely use that kind of money, so let me do that. And not necessarily because it was something I loved. It was just because the money and the potential of it, you know, got the best of me. And while I enjoyed those things, and once I did research, I did, you know, enjoy doing them. I did grow, you know, a small passion for them. It wasn't something that I loved from the get-go. It was more like, if I learn this, or if I can do this, I can possibly make this much money. And I feel like that has always, unfortunately, been what has driven me. And now I want something that I love, that I can put my heart and soul into it. And like I said, just start small. So that is my 3rd goal. I'm not sure where I cut it off previously, but she interrupted me. But yeah, so this time I'm just doing it out of something that I have thought in the past, but I've said, you know, it's not the right timing. What if it doesn't work? How am I gonna do this? Where do I start? Where do I take it? You know, like all that. So this time I'm just focusing on the fact that this is something I would really love to do. This is something I would really love to stand by. This is something I would love to create. And yeah, that's what I'm gonna let fuel this new project. So I've already spoken to my husband about it. I've already done some research on it. I've already reached out to people that could I could hire to do this, or can work with me to do this. And yeah, I'm really excited. Okay, I need touch up? Okay. So I'm really excited for this year. I'm really excited about my 3 goals, which I feel like in the past I have written down goals and I'm just like not as excited as I am, not stressed, I don't know what the word is, but I'm like, how am I going to do this? For example, last year, I used the most recent example. When we set down that goal of purchasing our first home, we were financially not 100% ready. And it was January 1st, we were having breakfast at Denny's, and we sat down, we wrote it down, and we were like, we don't know how this is going to happen. We just know we want and need to buy our first home. So at the time, we didn't have a full-on savings account, at least not even close to what we would have to put a down payment to. And we just knew that was the goal for the year. And that was stressful because we were like, we're not financially ready to buy a house, but we know we need to, and this is the goal for the year. So that's what I mean. Compared to this year, I feel like, okay, we've got our home. We now can focus on things that we maybe are really excited about. And while we were excited about buying our first home, it was very stressful and daunting, and we didn't know how we were going to do it, but we did by the grace of God, because we didn't do it by ourselves. So that's what I mean. Like this year, I'm so excited. I'm so pumped for my goals and what I've written down, and I can't wait to share any resources that I'm using to achieve these goals or to, you know, better myself and enable myself to achieve these goals. So like books that I'm gonna read, or like I'm gonna go on the hunt for a journal and a planner. So whatever it may be, I'm gonna go ahead and share it with you. And I am so excited. Vamos a ver el video. Okay. I hope that you guys wrote down your goals for 2020. I hope this year brings so many blessings and so many achievements that maybe you have never thought possible. I know, how exciting! I hope it brings you all the things that you're looking for, all the things you're hoping to achieve. And if you want to stay tuned, make sure to subscribe and follow up with a thumbs up if this is something you're interested in. And if you would also want to share your goals with me, feel free to leave them down in the comments below. I think... Thank you. I feel like sometimes everybody is like, oh, what are your goals for this year, blah, blah, blah. And sometimes, I don't know if it's you don't need to have goals, or maybe you just can't think of the right one. So if you guys want to share down below, maybe we can all see what everybody else's goals are and then get ideas. And it's never too late. Just because it's January 2nd doesn't mean that you can't write your goals down for 2020. It's not like they were due December at midnight. I mean, December 31st at midnight. So yeah, feel free to leave them down below. And I will be talking to you guys very soon, hopefully. And I hope you guys have a great start to your new year. And until next time, we'll be talking to you. Bye-bye. Bye. Okay, bye-bye.